All right, folks. Zach, I'm already on the clock. Here we go. Is called titled Pedagogies of Resiliency, Innovation, Creation in lieu of Reaction to the National Criminalization of Chicana, and Latino youth. All right. As you can see, I'm actually a doctoral candidate here at this school, and I'm also part of the Chicana Institute for Teaching and Organizing, which Christina talked about. So we're good. Welcome to Arizona.
63.
An incredible defensive play here. Like he just fumbled it right out of his hands.
29 opportunities. 14, Sweet 16.
They didn't grow up on Park Place in the Monopoly board, right? In fact, our folks usually This used to be, that room I used to teach across the street at Tucson High, used to be the most joyous place I could ever imagine in the entire world, on the spot in the world. It was filled with joy and love. It was filled with rigorous study of academic material. And it was done in a balanced way that also these young people knew their role in the community. They knew their role as far as being politically and civically engaged. They knew their role in giving back. They were grounded with a love for the cultura, their cuentos. They were grounded with an understanding of what their sacrifices of the generations that came before them. And not just the Chicano, Latino folks that sacrificed, everyone who sacrificed to push this nation forward. This is Arizona. And this is Georgia. I just came back from Georgia, I just told you, on Tuesday. Check out Georgia. So different. You know, the South is so different than the Southwest. It's a completely different culture. Or it looks exactly the same. So, what's going on here? We're not only criminalizing it here in Arizona, but HB 87, what you see here, was a law passed, was a bill passed that is now a law, banning undocumented youth from the 5 major universities, public universities in Georgia. Banned. It was the evil hate child, not love child, of SB 1070 and HB 2281. It's like, okay, how do we get at the students, the Latino students? How do we get at the undocumented folks with 1070? Oh, let's just put it together and say the undocumented students can't go to school. All right, there's high fives everywhere. And somewhere this young man cried. Because all of a sudden, even though his sign says it is Georgia, and it's not easy, I hate to tell him, it didn't work out that way. Actually, it worked out this way. This is America. So we just celebrated the 50 years since the March on Washington for freedom and jobs. And here we are again, with doors being slammed in young people's faces. Young people who have spent their entire lives often in this country, a lot of them believing they were documented, authentic, real Americans. Because you know what? They were authentic, real Americans. They are. And then all of a sudden, doors are slammed in their face. Or even sometimes they're documented like many of our students were, and doors are still slammed in their face. Because somehow, there's just a new zeitgeist in this country. A new epidemic that's spreading that looks a lot like an old epidemic that many people say we're past. And then I like this map here because it shows you, I used to call Arizona the petri dish of hate. It's like we're all experimenting what's going on. And then look at all the copycat legislation that came up. I was referring to Georgia just a second ago. And then I did a little bit more digging. So this is from 2010. So how is this affecting us? Well, the past 2 decades, the money that states spend on prisons has risen at 6 times the rate of spending on higher education. And we can see who's benefiting from higher education as is, right? Because these are bachelor degrees and associate degrees. Now, I know the Pew Hispanic Research came out with that. All right, Latinos have eclipsed European American folks, young people as far as going into college. But who's coming out of college? 1.2 million bachelor degrees in 2010 were European American descent, students of European American descent. 140,000 were Latinas and Latinos. 160,000 of those BAs were African American. But the prisons, they be booming. Business is good here. Maybe not so good graduating our young ones from college. But we're good at putting teenagers in jail. We're going to see a historical increase in incarcerations and caging bodies. And we know whose bodies they are. After all, part of the beginning of this talk, we know who they're criminalizing, what behaviors are criminal. And those of you that are familiar with Michelle Alexander's work and other people that have done work that didn't get so famous, and maybe even better, I'm not saying much because I still haven't finished my dissertation, so Michelle Alexander kicks my butt all day long. But I've heard of may I know not seen a hammer. So what's going on here? Where's the convergence? Well, this is something I know. By the way, the statistic I just got, that I just showed you, were from Adam Gottlieb's New Yorker article about caging bodies in America. Fantastic. And this one actually comes from Elise Foley from Huffington Post. But I like it because it had Tanya Golas also. I'm hoping she's the last one. Alright? She's from Mercedes, might as well, man. Those of you who are from California, she's from Mercedes. She's got some funk in it, right? She's got something to do with funk in it. Alright. But she just did an analysis. 400,000 removals. I love the word she chose. Removals. Like we're skin cancer. Like we're a nasty mole. Not deportation, removal. We are removing bodies in this country, a massive majority of which we need at this rate. So much so, if we continue at this rate, we're talking about 2 million people being deported, removed by the end of the Obama administration. But this is 2013. The things are still happening. Let's not get too depressed first. You're bringing me down, right? I one time I was going to play the whole Macklemore song. I was. No unequal, no freedoms and no equality, right? Macklemore, I said, he keeps me warm. He keeps me warm. I had to switch the gender, these others. He keeps me warm. I love, he keeps me warm. All right. Right, I gotta work on it. So what's going on where we can start seeing some of this stuff? Like that map's still jacked up, don't get me wrong, but we're seeing it's moving forward. It's moving forward enough that Time Magazine decided just to say it's over. So how can we be living in a country that's progressive to this extent and so regressive, hateful to do what it's done to me personally, to my colega Sean Arson, to all of us in here who know and have family who have been affected by these removals, these forced removals of bodies and those were allowed to the other side. Because this is still 2013 too, Kano. Let's not forget this, young man. And I know it's morning, but I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. That's Trayvon Martin, that's George Zimmerman, and that's Trayvon Martin's twisted body after he was murdered. Now, for folks like me who are a little bit younger, but still got another one beneath us, right? Another generation that we're lucky enough to call son. That last picture hurts the most. That's Trayvon and his dad. I have 2 sons. And what that verdict to me, and many other people, I wasn't alone when that verdict came down in Chicago, some good friends, good compañeros. What we felt was the permissible act hunting African American boys. That's what that subtext of that verdict meant to us. But if you have a little more ganas in the beard or in the hair, and you've been rocking this fight for a long time, especially our brothers and sisters of African American descent, this is Emmett Till. This is Strange Fruit in 2013. Talk to me a little. And this is 2013. I love bringing up sports because it kind of gets us in this you gotta get it. This is anybody know who this is? What's his name? Chief Wahoo. I'm glad some people knew they didn't want to say it. This is Chief Wahoo. This is 2013. And this is what the Cleveland Indians mascot looks like. It has looked like for a while. And this is also what their leadership says about Chief Wahoo. Chief Wahoo not going anywhere. Just drink that in. We're in 2013 and we just saw a Time magazine cover had couples of the same sex kissing. Alright? Something I was really proud of during my time as an American Studies teacher in Tucson was that we went after that idea of common humanity. We read queer literature. Alright? We brought the Macklemore, the Frank Ocean in the class. And before that, it was the Manuel Munoz and the Ramon Garcia in the class. Because we needed to have those discussions, the Gorean Sadua in the class. Because if one person, injustice for one, injustice for all, at least that's what we were doing. Yeah, here we are, 2013. And this is what the owner of the Washington football team says about that name. So what's up with this dissonance that we're having in this country as far as moving forward and moving backward simultaneously? Foucault had a lot to say about that, but I don't have time. Now this is 1970. This is my basketball team before they moved west. That is the caricature for the Philadelphia Warriors. If you didn't know where the Warriors came from, now you do. And then moved to San Francisco. And in 1970, they started looking like this. And like that. That stuff was all over my peachy folder. I was drawing a little California. I was probably supposed to be doing my chemistry, but I was drawing my little state Warrior. 1970. I didn't even know. My father didn't know about this. He's been a Warrior fan since they moved. I had to tell him about this the other day. He's like, well, you're lying. I haven't showed up the pictures. And many people don't know that our Pac-10/12 rival used to be called the Indians. And this is what they're, now don't tell, I don't know what the hell that is. But it's funny. And it's a hell lot cooler than dehumanizing depictions of people that I would like to call friend, homie, loved one, family. So it's interesting during this debate. Dave Zirin, if you don't know Dave Zirin, he was on the BS report the other day. He said the following. I'll let you read it. And look at the clock. What I love best, I obviously highlighted at the end, this idea of basic empathy. And like I said, I like tapping into sports because it kind of gets into that, like for a large part of sports culture is mainstream, middle class, white folks, right? European descent that drive the discourse. Okay? So Dave Zirin, who writes for, like I said, The Nation, one of the smarter writers about sports, socio-political analysis is dope. He said this, I love that, because it reminds me of some things. But then Bill Simmons, who I don't think is racist, but that doesn't mean you can't say racist things, said this. The Olympics argument is much more interesting, he wrote about it. That's right, the Olympic argument, the idea of going to Russia, the idea of going to Sochi, the idea of the gay and lesbian issue over there is much more interesting, and I believe it, because another famous, we're missing this empathy, this common empathy. And it reminds me of another famous scholar who said this. Always important to cite your sources. So sometimes we get caught up in all these gobbledygook words, and it doesn't mean they're not true. But it was not a neoliberal agenda that ended Mexican American studies in Tucson. It was racism, plain and simple. And if we don't start talking about what we just experienced in those images and racism, then how are we going to transform it? If we're just going to hide behind everybody's chasing dollars, then we're going to miss some blatant ugliness. And we're certainly not going to tap into this idea of a common humanity and end up getting. I was going to show you this article here. I don't think I was going to. Whoops, wrong with it. That's my number. I was going to show you him, but we don't have enough time. So, at the end of Hupperthal talking about how he destroyed us, we're going to have to come back to the evening show. He says, those are my scholars, those are my guiding lights. He's talking about the forefathers. So I decided to go to my scholars and my guiding lights to check them. So I went to DJ Cooper, one of the founders of hip-hop. Those Bibles you see there are horns. Dr. Stegman of the University of Arizona, Attorney General Horn, State Superintendent Hupperthal, and former TSD Superintendent John Petticone. They ain't about keeping it real. They weren't about keeping it right. They were about injustice, personal agendas, on the backs of hate and fear that destroy a beautiful space and opportunity for young people in this town and possibly in this nation, if we let it. Paulo Freire said the following: what happens when you lack courage, though, to hold the line and fight for justice? When you negotiate with the overseers of hate that we just saw, destruction, and succumb to the fear. The very individuals that demonize, criminalize our youth, our teachers, and are currently divesting and destroying public education. What happens when you don't stand up to them? This. No Mexican American authors in Mexican American studies. I like this one. This Tony Diaz says, warning, this post contains mind-altering thoughts, bans, and everything. We're not there yet. I heard you're back. I hear you're back. I hear you're back. She ain't back. And I'm certainly not back because I would never, ever, ever talk to those gentlemen after the fact. I wanted to talk to them during the struggle. I wanted to say, what is your problem? And we did sit down with them. But they just wanted to get rid of us. And now we're supposed to do something new when something old was beautiful and working and lovely and strong and created these young, inspired folks? No. So we must look forward. These are some of the things that are no longer around. And I got 5 minutes, so I gotta quit. So no matter what, the time, the effort, the energy that we put into our curriculum, that has not made the cut in the new and improved MAS. It is impossible to teach without the courage to love. So then I'm going to leave you these last 5 minutes with this hope. That's the pedagogy of hope, resilience. Okay? So I just came back from Jordan because I lived my dream of teaching at Freedom University. Do you know what Freedom University is? So Freedom University was started by 3 University of Georgia professors once the ban on the students attending the top 5 universities happened. They started a Sunday class. And so last Sunday, I went to Freedom University and I taught Juno Diaz. And those kids, smart as you can imagine. Well, you can't imagine. You can go see them anytime you want. They're all over this town. They're all over America. But these students are banned from moving home. So it was beautiful. There I am. And what's interesting is these are their high school teachers. Matt Hicks and Ian Allen. They're living in Marquette. They're living this cross-cultural empathy. And there's Daya. And there's the rest of the class. Dali got her paper so I can show you her face. I didn't even know that our cover of this program was going to look almost identical to me. But I can't show you these beautiful young people because I have to protect their identity. Where do we live where I have to do that for a PowerPoint presentation? And look at the privilege of those 3 people right there. And their teacher is a white man from the South. That's beautiful. But where were the buses that were going 50 years ago to the South? Where were the buses going to the Southwest? Filled with all different colors. Where are the freedom riders now? There was a bus that showed up here in Tucson that was filled with Negro traficantes, and most of them look like me. Prettier. But there was this lack of cross-cultural empathy, this lack of in Marquette. And I still don't know where it's at. And this is Arizona, another screen of hope and optimism. Chicano literature after school studies. So I did exactly what Freedom U did, because I knew about them, and I started a Sunday class last year. And there we are, Dr. Fernandez and soon to be Dr. Arce, with the young ones in Chicago presenting at Fremont Street People. When you build things out of your heart, beautiful things happen. So these young people, check this out. They would meet on Sunday for 3 hours with me just because I had dope Costco trail mix and some books. Eventually, because of my partnership and my relationship with Anita Fernandez and the fact that she's just Medici, Preston College offered us college credits to those young people. And And they all, 10 students got free college credit. But here's the catch. We had to raise that money. Again, in Acosta, what we need now is to actively search for businesses and foundations in Tucson to keep this moving forward, because we were ready to roll this fall. We can't do it. And last time we passed, I had those individuals just like you. That ain't gonna cut it for me anymore. I don't like that. I want to see some people like step up. So I was thinking, like, this lady came up and said something to me, you know? Oh, that's me, but it said something. It said something to me. Oh, she really cares? That's beautiful. Now this is a writing company. You a bunch of you got all the ethos, pathos, all the logos going on. So I'm gonna tap into something. We must, if governments aren't gonna listen to us anymore, then we gotta circumvent. Straight up. If people aren't writing for us, then we need to write in. We need to find the people that will. So what I'm thinking is that we should all write Eva Longoria, a nice letter. And don't be writing. You know how to use a rhetorical abuse. You're good with your antithesis, and you're good with your anaphora. Like really try to get in the zone. And maybe we should all go home back to our spots and with our students and go, you know what, Eva Longoria, I bet you one night, well, it's obviously more than one night, but one night of fundraising would probably fund your class for 5 years. Or whoever. Pick your corporation. You can talk to those people. You can do a Google search and find out somebody to Google to send it to. All these people that say they're writing for the right causes, well, here's the right cause. Freedom U, they need help. Chicano literature, art, and social studies, what we're going to turn ourselves into starting in January, needs help too. And there's one last thing to know. We started an institute for teaching and organizing that you heard about. So we're going to keep moving this knowledge forward. One of our founders is in the picture because he allegedly exists, but I haven't seen him in months. So we're going to keep this moving forward. The idea that our epistemologies, our indigenous epistemologies have this type of success. Why shouldn't we teach that to the next generation? Teachers, current teachers now, teachers of color especially. And now it's going to be a slow burn because we got to start building up some capitals for some people to come to our institute for free, but we're going to get there. Because if you do work with your heart, beautiful things happen. But we must do it together. We must do it cross-culturally. We must actually embody that idea in our head. Because without doing that, we're not going to move past. We're not going to move past 1963, that high water mark. We're going to regress that. 2013. Unless we do it together, unless we see a common humanity amongst one another, unless we are really committed to not feeling bad about the world, but changing the world and transforming it, we're not going to move forward. So I thank you for this conference today, because it's going to be easy to forget about 1070. It's going to be easy to forget about HB 2281 and the young people affected in this town. Because a new story will crop up. And a new hotness will hit. But the same pain remains unless we're actively calling it out and working together. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much.